Hey, I'm Kristi Mitchell, and welcome to Unfudge Your Marketing, the podcast where we talk about what really happens when marketing doesn't go according to plan. Every week, I sit down with business owners and leaders to unpack the missteps, the experiments that didn't land, and the decisions they'd probably rethink if given a do-over. But more importantly, we talk about what they learned on the other side and what you can take with you as you build your own business. Success rarely comes from getting it right the first time. It comes from taking action, making mistakes, adjusting, and showing up again and again. If you've ever wondered whether you're the only one figuring this out as you go, you're in the right place. Hello. I am so excited for the show today. I am welcoming on Dr. Karen Finn. She is a business growth strategist, and small businesses hire her to double and triple their revenues with no-cost and low-cost strategies. With that, I will welcome Karen to the show.
Hi, Kristi. It's wonderful to be here.
It is so wonderful to have you. And before we hopped on to record, we were trying to remember exactly how we had met. It was some virtual networking. Turns out like over 4 years ago, which is crazy. But we've been in each other's LinkedIn worlds ever since then. I always love your content. And honestly, I think that I saw you post about something or comment on something that led to me being like, hey, will you come on the show and talk about this story?
Yeah, it totally was. I had posted a note about someone that I knew through somebody else who was working with her. Okay, so it's kind of a convoluted chain here. But she asked me to get on the phone with her and kind of talk with her about marketing. And she said, I kind of feel like there's a problem here, but I don't know what it is because it doesn't seem to be working. But my marketing folks say, oh, no, it's working great. You need to have everything we're doing for you. Yeah, that's scary.
Yes. And I'm sure I was totally drawn to this post or this comment because this happens so often with the prospective clients that I talk to where maybe they're working with an agency or another provider and they just feel like something isn't right. It's just not sitting well with them.
Yeah. And they don't know how to figure it out. And that's the most frustrating part for them and for me. I mean, understanding what's going on with your marketing that you're paying somebody to do should be transparent in my mind.
Yes. Yeah. And I think the other thing too is a lot of times business owners will recognize and admit the fact that they're not marketing experts, right? Like that's the whole reason they're hiring someone else to help with them. So I think when it comes to asking questions and maybe challenging what they're being told by a provider that they're just not totally on board with, they probably won't get in their heads about it. Like, well, I don't really know enough, so I guess I need to trust them, but something still doesn't sit right with me. So I'm sure it creates a bit of conflict internally on like, what do I do here?
Yeah, I could feel that. I mean, with your hands and the way you're describing, it's like, oh yeah, I remember being at that point way back when. I mean, I dropped thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars believing what anybody told me about marketing because I came into, working for myself from corporate America as an engineer. Not that we have, a reputation for being, kind of know-it-alls or obstinate or anything like that. Of course, I wasn't like that, but yeah, I really was. I just didn't know it. Now I do. And so I thought, well, I could just spend my way to success. You really can't.
Yeah.
You got to figure out what the heck is going on. Mm-hmm. And if you don't ask the questions, then figure out what questions you need to ask so you can ask them. That's what's so important. And that's one of the things that I really, helped this woman with in that post, that I told you about. Is I said, okay, what is it that you're thinking? Help me understand where you think it may not be working. She said, it's these blog posts that they're putting up for me. I don't think they're providing value, but I can't prove it because they keep saying I'm getting traffic with them. Mm. So luckily she had Google Analytics on board.
Yes.
So we went right there and I explained to her exactly what to look for and how to make sense of the data. Mm-hmm. And in less than 2 minutes, she saw exactly what her gut was telling her. Everybody may come to the website because they saw something in SEO. This was a little bit ago, right? Before I completely changed everything. It was just starting to change things. And people were going to the site for that, but they didn't even stay 2 seconds. They bounced right away. So the traffic was there. It's just a thing for her. And that's kind of technical, but oh my gosh, it's the foundation of the kinds of things you have to ask about if you're going to trust somebody to do your marketing.
Yeah, because unfortunately, there's so many ways to spin numbers in terms of like, oh yeah, we increased your website traffic by 150%. And then you dig down into it and you're like, okay, but that traffic didn't do anything. They actually didn't engage at all. They didn't click through. They didn't read anything. Like they left. So without having that information, it makes it, you don't have something to stand on in terms of like pushing back, but yet it sounds like she kind of knew in her gut, there's something going on here.
Yeah. And I think most business owners do. It's about how they decide to look at it. You know, in my case, my first instinct actually for too many years was to blame myself. I must not be working hard enough. I must not be understanding all this stuff. I got to spend more money to figure this out.
Yes.
That was a real slippery slope I was on. And I almost put myself out of business because I ran out of money. You know, I couldn't continue subsidizing everything with my savings.
Right. Yeah. And I think there have definitely been other guests on this show with a similar theme in terms of like taking advice from somebody and then it's not working. And so then they immediately blame themselves. Like, well, I must not be doing it right, or I must not be trying hard enough, or I must not be putting myself out there as often as I need to be. Like, it's got to be me. Yeah. And how totally unfortunate that like that's the default is like, it's got to be my fault because I paid this expert and you know, I'm doing what they told me to, but I'm not getting the results. So it's got to be me. It couldn't be them.
Yeah. And the thing that really confuses me even more about that is I see it more often in women than I do in men.
Yeah.
So it's something about us needing to be more self-sufficient or maybe not even be seen in the same way or accept that we actually do have brains on our shoulders, you know?
Yeah.
There's
that doesn't surprise me.
On.
Yeah, unfortunately, that doesn't surprise me that it happens more frequently in women than men. So I'm curious, what happened in that specific story of this person who kind of asked you and you helped her like dig into those insights? Like, then what did she do?
She decided that she was going to fire them. And that's what she told me she was going to do. I fully expected her to do it.
Oh.
The friend who introduced us told me about a month later, yeah, no, she didn't. I was like, you're kidding. The reason he told me she gave him was she didn't have the time or the money to do anything different. And I was shocked. I mean, what do you even do with that? Somebody who feels so trapped?
That's so unfortunate.
I know, it really almost makes me want to cry. It's like, I know how hard she's working. I know that she provides a tremendous service that's really needed and necessary.
Yeah.
And she feels too trapped to do the one thing that's really going to help her business explode from being seen.
Right. Oh, that is so unfortunate. And I mean, I would say I'm surprised, but I'm not totally surprised because I've had similar experiences where like I've shown a client that someone else who's doing a piece of their marketing like isn't maybe doing all that they say they're doing, and here's what the numbers show, and like here's why they're telling you what they're telling you, and then they decided not to do anything about it. And it's like it can be so mind-blowing. I do want to share, though, I heard somebody else, I was on somebody else's podcast, and somehow we got talking about this specific experience. And the one of the hosts on the show was saying, you know what, I'm actually not surprised. He's like, because even for him and his business, he's like, I always feel like I have so many different things going for my marketing that if I pull out one piece, the whole thing could crumble.
Oh.
And so it's like this fear of like, well, it might not be working as well as I want it to, but if I stop it, will everything else kind of get messed up as a result of it? And it really helped me to like change the way I thought about it. Because to me, I'm like, oh my God, if you know something isn't working, like, why aren't you holding the person accountable and asking questions and pushing back and firing them, or at least getting them to like change what they're doing? So different perspective.
Well, and the place I went with it is different from that. I haven't gone to that perspective before of it kind of being, the Django thing happening.
Yes.
But where I went was maybe it was too uncomfortable to actually say the words "you're fired."
Yes. Yeah. Firing people isn't easy.
No, it's not.
It doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't. And yet it's actually the best thing to do, because if you've hired someone to do work for you, right? Obviously, from your point of view, they don't deliver. You wouldn't want to have to pay for it. I mean, if I bought, I used to do this too, pairs of shoes just because I wasn't sure how they'd really look with what I had in my closet, I'd return the ones that didn't work. And I wouldn't feel any regret for it.
Yes.
Right? So if you hire somebody to do a service for you and they don't do it, you're just returning their time to them.
Yes. Oh my God, I love it. Such a good little perspective shift. Yeah, you wouldn't keep a pair of shoes that don't fit right or don't look right. So yeah, same goes for your marketing. I like that. So Karen, I'm curious. We didn't talk about this ahead of time, so I feel a little bad I'm putting you on the spot here. But are you willing to talk about that? Because you started to kind of say that you had a similar experience in terms of investing a bunch of money in a marketing thing that didn't work out.
Yeah.
Can we go there?
Yeah, we totally can. In fact, I'm actually writing a blog post about it now, which is why it's probably top of mind.
Nice.
Timing's everything.
Yes, it is. It is. It's funny how that works.
Yeah. So when I was a brand new entrepreneur, just recently left corporate, and I kind of, had this arrogant, naive thing going on. I had no clue about either one. I thought the way to guarantee business success was to hire people to teach me what I needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd implement it to the best of my ability. That's how most people think things work.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I didn't take into account what my first business was. I was a divorce coach. I was one of the very first divorce coaches out there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And you can't really network your way into finding divorcing clients or people who are thinking about divorce, because nobody wants to talk to the woman who's talking about divorce. Yeah. You can't really set yourself up with speaking engagements about divorce, although I did manage it. Because nobody's going to go and say, hey, I'm thinking about getting divorced. What do you have to tell me?
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
This is where the naive piece came in. I was clueless, Kristi. Clueless. So I spent all kinds of money attending events, going to conferences, paying for networking. I mean, I was doing it all. Mm-hmm. And instead of recognizing the full scope of everything that was going on, I kept blaming myself. Mm-hmm. I kept saying, there's got to be something I'm not doing right. There just has to be. Until I ran out of runway.
Yeah.
And when I ran out of runway, I went the other way. It's like, I ain't buying anything else from anybody. This business is going to work because it's going to work, And so I almost turned down the one thing that turned everything around. I got a phone call one day out of the blue. And you know how we all get the spam calls, right? Mm-hmm. When I picked up, it was also many more years ago than where we are right now. And this woman was on the other line telling me about, we're starting up this brand new online magazine. We see what you write. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, right. Nobody visits my website. Nobody sees what I write. I don't know how you saw it. But she said, no, really, we like how you write. And we think you would be wonderful on our platform. And it's like, yeah, right. You just want my money. How much is it? It's only $350 for the year. I was like, what? You want me to pay you to do this? I told you I swung completely the other way from yes,
Yes.
everything to no, never.
Nothing.
And so I thought about it for 2 weeks. I kept her on kind of the back burner, no answer, not really responding. And then I finally recognized, Karen, that's less than you charge for 1 month for one client for coaching. Really? $350? You like to write. So I finally said yes. That yes turned into all kinds of syndications on really well-known platforms, clients, income, visibility. I mean, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think for me, what the big difference was, it wasn't just consuming information. It was forcing me in one way to deliver on my own marketing, which is what the shift was for me. Because, I got the PhD. That means I love learning.
I love it. I love it. How incredibly interesting, though, to hear like your journey of like, okay, I'm going to do all the things, invest in all the things. And then you're like, nope, never mind. I'm not doing anything. I'm not paying for anything else. It's funny because my biz bestie and I call her, we talk about this all the time. She'll be like, I'm not paying for any more courses or any more coaches. And then she'll message me like 2 weeks later. So I have a book coach now. I'm like, oh my God.
I love that. I love that. Yeah.
So interesting. So that's so interesting. And it's funny because I feel like I've talked to other divorce coaches about this challenge that they have, that like people aren't willing to raise their hand. They don't want to, they're not going to walk into a room of other people who are like all there because they're considering divorce. And so it does pose a very unique challenge in terms of how do you reach that specific ideal client. And I know for, some of the conversations I've had with other people, it's like, okay, well, you network with therapists and you network with lawyers and you network with like other people who might know that someone's getting divorced and set up those kind of like collaborations, referral partners. But that makes what you're saying, your example makes so much sense, as if you're putting out articles, right? People can read an article in private.
And it doesn't depend on anybody else, right? Because I did all that networking stuff. And it was such a new category of business to be in that the attorneys were all like, I've already got my therapist that I refer to. And the therapists were feeling like I was trying to encroach on their territory. In fact, one of them told me that to my face.
Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah. So if others are able to do that now, I'm so happy for them. I'm so happy for them. Because that's a big difference.
You were one of the OGs then. You paved the way.
I really, really was. I mean, think back to the early 2000s. That's when I started. Yeah.
So I'm curious, how long did you run that business? And was that like your main marketing channel that just kept producing for you?
It was my main marketing channel. It kept producing. I just recently shut that website down because I built it into such a machine after I understood SEO back in the day that I went from basically nobody visiting the site to 1,000 visitors a day on the site.
Wow.
Yeah. And so to me, in my mind, that meant that people were still getting value out of it, even when I stopped practicing. Right. So I left the site up and I stripped out everything else. Right. So I just left the site up. I just took it down because I was getting maybe 300 people visiting a month. And I thought, okay.
Started to dwindle. Yeah.
I think it's now. But that was 5 years without writing anything else. It still was going that strong. If you Google me today, and this is today when we're recording. I don't know what it'll be when this actually airs.
Yeah.
But that still shows up as my primary business because I had built it so hard for so long.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this wasn't something we planned on talking about, but I have to ask the question. Why did you pivot from doing that to doing what you do now? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So when I figured out what it really took to get found online, I was like, this is all you have to do? I have to tell everybody how to do this because this is so simple. And then they won't have to spend $1 bajillion, right? It's just, this is doable. And then I was doing that for a while and people kept saying, hey, Karen, how about this? hey, Karen, how about that? Hey, Karen, how about the other thing? So I'd go and figure it out and say, okay, this is how we do it. Right?
Yes.
And so then we'd embark on doing it. And then I got another phone call. Okay, fine. What do you have to tell me? He said, Karen, we think you're going to love this piece of software. I was like, what piece of software? He said, just look at it and tell me what you think. Because my background in engineering is in IT and software, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so anyway, I took a peek at it, and I said, holy crap. Hopefully that's okay to say. Holy crap. This is exactly what I would have built if I had the time to do it. It basically helps people to see exactly the ROI from the efforts that they're getting ready to put forth for some very specific strategies that I teach. I was like, okay. Remember how I used to be that person who was just dropping money anytime I can? I know people like that still exist.
Yeah.
But if they can get focused with low cost and no cost strategies that they can see the ROI for before they ever invest anything in trying to get them done.
Yeah.
What better way is there to help people out?
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh my gosh, I love it. It's so interesting too. I always find it interesting. I had someone else on the show a while ago. She was a health coach. And her friends started asking, like, they saw how successful she was building this business. So they started asking her, like, what are you doing? So then she became more of like a marketing coach.
Yeah.
So it's always so interesting to me when people start one place and end up somewhere else and just have all this wild success. So that's awesome. I love it.
Well, thank you. I love those stories too. And I don't usually think of myself as having one because mine feels like this arc of growth.
Yes.
But anybody from the outside is usually like, and how did you make that connection? And why did you choose to do that?
Yeah.
Whereas to me, like I said, it was a continuous growth. And when I look at my husband and the things he's done, I mean, when he was a kid, one of his first jobs was as a professional dancer. And I don't mean, striptease kind of stuff, but like a professional dancer.
Yeah.
And now he's this really super geeky engineer guy who does networking. It's like dancer to networking. Now, to me, that's some big changes, not like mine. Mine makes sense to me.
It makes sense to you. I love that. Oh, that's so interesting. Oh my gosh, Karen, we covered so much great ground in this conversation, like so much more than I had even planned on. I love it. I'm sure, those listening to the show are taking away little bits and pieces and nuggets. As we get ready to wrap up this conversation, I'm curious if there's any last piece of advice you want to leave.
Yes. And it's going to sound cliche, but knowing your numbers is so critical. If you don't understand what a number's telling you that anybody's showing you, please ask. Please ask and continue asking until you understand. Because it's not your job to figure it out. If somebody's showing you a number, it's their job to explain it to you in a way that makes sense to you.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I love that advice. And now I just want to share like a quick story related to that.
Yay.
The turning point for me and my business, I call her like my fractional CFO, because I just kept thinking like I should be able to handle all of this. Like I should be able to, forecast. And I mean, I have an MBA and I like numbers. I've taken accounting courses. Like I've done the things.
Yeah.
But it just is not my strong suit. And when it comes to money and numbers and things, like there's a whole lot of feelings that go into that. And like, that's a whole different conversation for a different day. But I still remember I was talking to this close-knit group that I was a part of business owners. And I was saying how I just was like, I was in this spot of like wanting to invest in my business, but being afraid like I didn't have enough money to invest in the business and also pay myself.
Yeah.
And someone was like, oh, there's this great online course, like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't need a course. Like I have an MBA. And I'm like, I need someone to tell me what to do. And I immediately stopped and was like, oh my God, that's why people hire me for marketing. because they just need someone to tell them what to do. So why am I sitting here feeling like I should be able to do this on my own when people hire me for that exact same reason for marketing? And here I am, like, not moving forward, like hiring an expert to tell me what to do when it comes to money. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I love that. But that makes so much sense, because that's what it is again and again and again as businesses grow, right? It's just like, why am I, banging my head against the wall trying to figure this out?
Yes. It's time to get help.
Yeah. Because now I got other time, I can do something else that's going to bring in the extra money. Right.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I love what you're saying about know your numbers. And if you don't know, or it doesn't make sense, find someone and ask the questions and keep asking until you understand. I think that is such phenomenal advice in so many different areas of business, for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, Karen, thank you so much for coming on the show. As we wrap up here, very lastly, I want to give you the opportunity to share how can people connect with you and learn more about the work that you're doing these days.
Well, the easiest way is on LinkedIn. It's just Karen Finn, PhD. And if you've really got a burning question, you can give me a call. My number is 817-988-8086.
I love that. I've only had one other person give out their phone number on this show. You are only the second person ever. And it ties in so well, because these phone calls that you received really changed the trajectory of your business in your future. So I love it. It's full circle now. You have Karen's number to reach out and get some help if you need it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much. I appreciate you taking the time to come on the show and share these awesome stories that I know listeners will benefit from.
Thank you so much, Kristi. This has been so much fun. I had no idea the ground we would cover today, but it's been a joy being here. Thank you.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, everybody.